Thanks. I would have called you up. Good morning and welcome to the Planning Hearing Officers hearings for May 6, 2015. My name is Laura Stotler and I am serving today as Planning Hearing Officer. We have one case and the relevant exhibits are posted on the panels located directly behind me. The agenda, staff report, and recommendations for each of today's cases can be found on the city's website. A copy of the hearing procedures are available by the counter at the front door next to the agendas, where you can also find copies of the staff report. Under the provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.43 of the Glendale Municipal Code, a variance shall be granted if 4 required findings are present. These findings are outlined in the staff report for the item. If the findings presented in the application and at the hearing meet the criteria, then the planning hearing officer can either approve or impose conditions for approval on the case in question. If the findings of fact are not evidence, then the request will be denied. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question, and placed in the local newspaper. A copy of the notice was also posted on the city's website. Hearings will proceed as follows. I'll read a description of the requested entitlement. The case planner will then make a brief overview of the case, give an analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will be asked to come forward, stating both name and address, and will be asked to present his case within a 15-minute time limit. Then others in support of or in opposition to the application and interested parties will be asked to come forward to speak, stating both name and address, and they will be given a 3-minute time limit each. Lastly, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make closing comments if desired in response to testimony given by preceding speakers, and the applicant will have a 5-minute time limit for the rebuttal. A hearing will be closed and the case taken under submission. After the decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, who have either spoke at this hearing or who have submitted written responses and who have provided their name and address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. However, if a decision is made at this hearing, then today will be the decision date, and the 15-day appeal period, and these will be calendar days, would start today. Under the appeal provision of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal may obtain forms and brochures on the procedures from the Permit Services Center, which is located in room 101 of this building. If you wish to speak, please write your name and address on one of the green speakers forms, looks like this, have been provided by the front door, and submit it to our planning assistant. Okay, I would like to also inform everyone that the proceedings for this hearing are being recorded and are part of the official public record. So for the first case, we have variance case number PVAR 1428606, located at 1135 Elm Street. The applicant is Alan Malecki and the case planner is Roger Kiesel. This is a variance application to allow the construction of a second dwelling unit on the subject site without providing the minimum 400 square feet of common open space required in the R2250 medium density residential zone. This project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act Class 3 pursuant to the state CEQA guidelines. And with that, I would like to ask the case planner to please provide an overview.
Good morning, Ms. Stotler. Alan Malikian is requesting approval of a variance to allow the construction of a second dwelling unit located at 1135 Elm Street without providing the minimum 400 square feet of common outdoor space required. The subject site is zoned R2250. In this zone, a minimum common outdoor space of 200 square feet is required per dwelling unit. The subject site currently contains a single-family house, and the applicant is proposing a second residential unit, and therefore 400 square feet of common outdoor space is required. The design of the project really provides no common outdoor space and instead provides 200 square feet of ground-level private open space for each unit. So instead of common open space, it's private. The 6,400 square foot subject site is located on the west side of Elm between Glen Oaks Boulevard and Glenwood Road. The existing house is located in the front half of the lot and will remain. The existing detached garage will be demolished as a result of the project. A new garage will be built in roughly the same location, and attached to it the proposed new dwelling unit and a new 3-car garage. As you know, 4 findings of fact need to be made in order to grant the variance. Staff does believe that these findings can be made and recommends approval of the variance application. I should say that the plans are posted in back of you. The intent of the R2250 zone is to promote medium-sized garden-type multifamily residential developments, which are efficient and attractive. The intent of the common outdoor space requirement is to provide outdoor space, or to provide usable and attractive on-site outdoor space where residents can gather. While a garden-like project could be built on the site, given the density constraints, there are only a maximum of 2 units allowed on this site. So given the density constraints, developing detached dwellings as is proposed is reasonable and efficiently maintains the existing single-family house on the site. This development pattern, whereby the original small single-family house is kept and additional units are constructed in the rear lot, is common on this block of Elm. The 2 residential units will each have large private outdoor areas. The design of the project is such that both areas are really truly private spaces. There aren't any windows looking out onto them, and there really is no reason for residents of the other unit to access the private spaces. It would be an unnecessary hardship to require a common outdoor space in the project, given its small scale nature, and the fact that generous private usable outdoor space is proposed for each of the units. The project will comply with the current density standards, maximum of 2 units, which is what is proposed. Of the 26 properties fronting Elm between Glen Oaks and Glenwood, only 6 are developed to the same density as the subject site. The remainder of the properties, or 19, exceed the density permitted in the R2250 zone, some significantly, some by a significant amount. This is the exceptional circumstance applicable to the property that does not apply generally to other properties in the same neighborhood. The current zoning of the subject site and this block of Elm limit development of the site to 2 units. The proposed project is more similar to really a small lot single-family development rather than the predominant large scale that's on the property now, or on the block now. Given the small scale nature of the project and the fact that detached residents typically have their own private yards rather than a common outdoor area, which is otherwise required in this case. While the applicant is not providing any common outdoor space on the site, as I've mentioned before, the site plan includes at least 200 square feet of private open space. The space is at grade, and this is in addition to the new unit, which has 2 balconies proposed. The lack of common open space for the proposed project should not be materially detrimental to the public welfare, as common outdoor area is typically for use by residents of the site, so it really doesn't benefit outside people, outside population. So not having it would not impact the public welfare. Future residents of the 2 dwelling units will benefit from the generous private outdoor space proposed. Only 2 units are proposed instead of a larger multifamily development where the benefits of providing a large common open area with space for tables, benches, swing sets, etc. are more essential. Finally, the granting of the variance will not be contrary to the objectives of the ordinance. One of the objectives is to accommodate reasonable development. The proposed project does this as it maintains the front existing single-family residence, increases the density of the neighborhood by only 1 unit, and improves on the on-site parking situation by providing 3 additional parking spaces. As previously mentioned, the intent of the R2250 zone is to promote efficient and attractive medium-sized garden-style developments. Because there will only be 2 units on the site, the need for a common gathering space really is lessened. Further, the site plan of the project is such that the residents function more like single-family houses on small lots rather than multifamily garden units. The design and location of the proposed private outdoor space, staff believes, does meet the objectives of the ordinance. Staff received 2 letters and 1 phone call of concern regarding the project. The 2 letters are in the file. And just to wrap up, staff supports granting of the variance with the draft findings and conditions, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thanks. I don't have any other questions, but I do want to state that we did receive an email from Robert H. Robb, and he's saying that he's in opposition to granting a variance for less than the common open space. He says, as a property owner in the area, he's acutely aware of the lack of parking and overcrowded traffic conditions due to the overbuilding of dwellings in the area. So we have received his email. And then we received another email from Sarkis Nazarian, and he has a lot of concerns generally with development in Glendale, although I don't really see any specific opposition to the granting of a private open space rather than common open space for this development. It's just more of a concern that adding an additional unit anywhere, especially on Elm, is bad for the neighborhood. So I just want to make sure that I have that comment out here. And with that, I'd like to call forward the applicant, Mr. Alan Malekian. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Alan Malekian. I'm the project designer representing owners. And thank you, Roger, for describing and going through the application and what we're trying to do. So I'll go ahead and read through this, and I don't know if you want me to go through the findings on my own, or do you want me to comment on the letters, or how would you like me to?
Well, if you would like to comment on at least the concerns that were raised
Sure.
by the applicants.
So I read through the 2 letters that was submitted, and as I appreciate everyone's comments, this particular project is probably, as Roger explains, probably one of maybe handful of properties that are going to be per code in that street, and we are not proposing a large development. It's a 1,500 square foot unit. In addition to what we're proposing, we're adding an additional parking, which we're not required. We're adding an extra enclosed parking. The definition of common outdoor space in relation to private outdoor space, in my opinion, it is only a designation of what the spaces are called. The private outdoor space have been achieved technically by providing the additional balconies. The outdoor 200 square foot, the intent originally was as a common outdoor, but because it is separated, and because to access the adjacent units we would have to walk through, therefore we eliminated the requirement or the common outdoor, and we decided that we would, in lieu of that, be more of a private, which will be a lot more useful. It would be less of obtrusive by every tenant that are going to be using. We also went through the extent of eliminating any windows that are facing from the new unit to the common outdoor or the private outdoor space that it will be used for the existing front unit. As far as overbuilding, I honestly, I can't really talk about this particular single unit 1500, which has more parking than any other majority of the structures that are there right now. So it is a unique lot. It is a 40-foot wide lot. By right, we are allowed to have the second unit. We are meeting all the requirements, and we think that we provided this with all the amenities, and we met all the findings. I have described all the 4 findings. I don't know if you like me to go over that, or if it's something that it's on the file and you can read through that.
Do you agree with the ones that were actually written in the staff report that were made by
I do.
By Roger? Okay. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, unless you have any questions.
No, I have no further questions. The only comment I would like to make is the fact that, as Roger pointed out, this was an area that was previously downzoned. That's why you do have a number of over 19. It seems like the vast majority of this, of Elm Street frontage, is developed well in excess of the current density. The project that you're proposing actually meets the density, and you actually meet the open space. It's just instead of being or common open space, you're being proposed private. So in terms of parking, you're actually providing more than the parking that's required. And I know that was one of the comments that definitely a concern on the letters was parking. So I just want to make sure to note that your project design does address some of the concerns that were raised by the residents. And your project is within density, so it's not overbuilding in terms of overbuilding for the code. I just wanted to make sure that was clarified. Since I have no other questions, and I see nobody else in the audience, I have no other input. Therefore, I am going to not take this item under submission. I'm going to make a decision today. I am going to approve this project subject to the conditions of approval that are outlined in the staff report, if that meets with your approval.
Absolutely.
All right. Then this item is now closed.
Thank you.
And we have no other items on the agenda. Therefore, I am now closing this public hearing, and this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for coming.